Hi, my name is Thokozhani Kulemeka. I am 12 years old and I go to Columbus Adventist Academy and I attend Hilltop Seventh-day Adventist Church. I want to thank you for joining us tonight for our broadcast this evening. We're back with Miss Aislinn Ridley again, this time to talk about social health. Miss A, will you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Thank you, Toko. My name is Aislinn Ridley, and I'm married to Pastor Jason Ridley, and I have a daughter. She's 5 months old, and I'm just so thankful to be sharing with you all today.
Okay, thank you. So now for our first question, what is social health?
Okay. Social health can be defined by your relationship and interaction with others. So it involves relationships with your family, friends, strangers. It also involves how you interact in various social settings.
Okay. I have a lot of very different social settings. Like I have school, church, and then my friends that I see never, but I still have a whole bunch of friends. Anyways, how does social health impact other areas of our life?
Well, social health impacts every area of your life. It impacts your emotional, physical well-being. And I read a very interesting statistic recently that said that loneliness can actually kill. And the researchers found that someone who's lonely is just as liable to have poor health as someone who smokes 15 cigarettes a day.
Wow.
So that means that your social health is very important to your physical health.
Okay. What is the difference between an introvert or an extrovert?
So I believe that everyone has a little bit of can be a little bit of an introvert and an extrovert. And I also think that some people can be right in the middle. So I think it's good to think about as introversion and extroversion as on a spectrum rather than thinking that I'm just one thing. So for example, I personally am an introvert, and all that means is I prefer to be alone. And I actually, my energy is drained when I'm in social settings. And the opposite is someone who's extroverted, they get energy from being in the presence of other people. They get happy, they get excited. So that's the difference. Does that make sense?
Yes, I think I'm an extrovert.
You think you're an extrovert?
Yes.
I think you're an extrovert too.
How can I tell if your friends are good friends?
Well, one way to tell if you have a good friend is to know, first of all, can you trust this person? If you can trust them with personal information and you don't have to be afraid that they'll go share that with someone else, that means they're trustworthy. Another good trait in a good friend is someone who is supportive of your endeavors or supportive of the things that you're interested in or goals that you have. And also someone who is respectful and someone who doesn't talk negatively about others. Those are just a few things that you can help you identify a good friend.
Okay, I have a question.
Yeah.
So what if they make time for me, but then at the same time they don't, and it's kind of balanced?
If they don't spend time with you?
Say I can talk to my friend, but then at other times I can't talk to my friends. Does that mean they're still a good friend, or?
Yes, it's important to have balance. So your social health, you want to make sure that you're balancing your personal time and time with friends and family. So it's important for you to interact with both, but you just want to make sure that it's balanced. So you don't want to be talking too much to your friends and neglecting your family and vice versa.
Okay. How can I improve my social wellness?
I think there are a couple of ways you can improve your social wellness. One thing that you can do every day is just practicing being able to listen when people are talking. Some people may know this by observation, but a lot of times we cross-talk and talk over each other when we're in a conversation with our friends or family, and a lot of times we think about our response to what they're going to say rather than actually hearing and listening to what the other person is saying. We're just eager to get our thoughts out without actually letting there be a pause in between and really taking in what the other person is saying. Does that make sense? Are you guilty? I know I'm
No,
guilty.
I started laughing because I realized that me and my friends talk over each other
all the time. Yeah, exactly. And I do it too. It's like it's almost natural in our culture. We are. It's such a fast-paced environment, so our thoughts are going, and it's hard for us to really just take a moment to appreciate what someone is saying rather than thinking about our response.
Okay. Can social media help with my social well-being?
Well, I think that there are some pros and cons to social media. I think it's all based on how you use it. There's a danger with social media because we tend to compare ourselves to others a lot, and that can be unhealthy. And I think that there's some really positive content on social media that can actually be helpful. So I think it's important to just be mindful of the different pages that you follow, be mindful of the information that you're taking in because it all can affect your social health. And yes, you're able to connect with a larger amount of people, but that doesn't always mean that you're connecting with the right kinds of people. Does that make sense?
Yes. How can I create healthy boundaries?
Okay, I think one way you can create healthy boundaries is by learning to be assertive rather than aggressive or passive. So I can give you an example. So being assertive just means you're able to communicate effectively and you're not afraid to, speak your mind in a respectful way rather than being passive, which is not saying anything at all, or aggressive, which means you're just kind of either verbally or with your body language just kind of coming off in a way that's not as respectful, which can come off like aggressive. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So those are just a couple ways you can set boundaries. You can also set boundaries by just being mindful of how much time you spend with your friends. And just kind of saying, like, say if you have homework to do, you can, dedicate a certain amount of time to talk with your friends and hang out with them. But then you have to be able to say, okay, guys, it's nice talking to you, but I have to go here and do my homework, or I'm going to spend time with my family. See you guys later. That's just a couple of ways you can set boundaries.
Okay, I have a question.
Sure.
Is there any way to spend too much time with your family like there is with your friends?
That's a good question. I would say everyone needs their alone time, even alone time from your family. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with wanting some private time. I think that family time is very important, but I don't think that it's more important than spending time with your friends, because you have to be able to build healthy relationships outside of your family, because in the real world you're gonna have to be in the workplace, form different work relationships and things like that. So in order to cultivate good social habits, you need to be able to have friends.
Okay. Well,
did I answer your question?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, Issa, for answering all the questions. And since we just finished talking about boundaries, can you show us how to set boundaries in the different areas of our life?
Absolutely. Hello everyone, thank you for joining us today. I'm going to demonstrate really briefly how you can create personal boundaries with this diagram. So this is where you start. You start with yourself. So you write me in the first part of the diagram. Then the second ring would represent the people who are closest to you. So the closest people to me are my family. So I'm going to write family in the next circle. Family. I'm gonna write my mom, my dad, siblings. I consider them all very close, so they get to be in my special circle. So the next circle would include your extended family and friends. So we'll put extended family and friends. These are people that you're close with, but you may or may not share very personal information with them. It depends on you. You get to decide, but this is just to give you an example, okay? So the next area would be your acquaintances. This just simply means people that you interact with. They might be people that you know, like in your community, so we can put people in our community. Or I'll put down here acquaintances. Okay, and then say for example, maybe if you take the bus to school, this could be the bus driver. Okay, or someone at the library. But ultimately, it's just someone that you see maybe on a day-to-day basis or a weekly basis. Okay. The next ring. I would say you can put in here maybe your teachers or other professionals. For example, maybe your doctor or your therapist. And we actually need one more ring. So I'm just going to make a smaller section out here that represents people that you actually don't know. So these are people on the outside of your circle, and we can just put strangers. Okay? I hope that you can learn from this diagram, and I hope that it's useful for you. But remember that it's very important to set these kind of personal boundaries.